Beginning isn't on there. All right. So I'm feeling like what we're doing is really working. Are you guys feeling like the whole like getting these business builders and getting them working? You guys feel the difference in that tempo of where they're coming in and they're booking out of the gates, and it's just really been good. This is our lowest week of the month, and but yet we're holding our own on election week. I mean, that is typically in network marketing known to not be a great week, and we're doing really well. So that's exciting, really exciting. So I want to talk to you guys about the skeleton of the vision call. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about following up after the vision call, what to do after. And so if any of you guys type the notes out and you have them like in a outline form, please send it to me, because I've never put this in any outline form. So if you guys happen to do that, send it over. If not, I'm going to work on trying to put it in an outline form over the weekend. But just like there's a skeleton of a three-way call, there's a skeleton of a vision call. So kind of what you'll notice is whenever we're doing the vision calls, we follow the same exact format every single time. And just like as a consultant, you want to follow that format of the three-way call so that it becomes duplicatable. You also want to follow the format of the vision call as we're going through and doing this. So when I'm doing the vision calls with you, try not to think of it as, okay, I hope Amy gets this person to bite on it with me. Try to think of it more as that you're on the call to learn how to give the vision calls. Because what you're seeing very quickly, many of you, so for example, Tammy, we did the call with, or Stacy, we did the call with Tammy, and then Tammy found Robbie. Now Robbie's going to need that vision call. So we want to get to the point that you're able then to go in and step in and do those. Is this confusing, you guys, what I'm saying? So it's almost the progression, a little bit of what we were talking about. I mean, you're always going to be doing your personal work, but ultimately what you want to do is to work your way out of your job, so that someone else is the one out getting, I mean, you're still going to get personal recruits, but someone else is out doing that. And then someone else is developing executives, and then you're actually helping executives to develop executives. So it's a progression. And so that's why you want to make it super duplicatable. But the skeleton of the vision call, I really want you guys to watch this as we're going through it. Number one, just going back and touching on this again, anytime you're doing a vision call with your team, the people that are already on your team, or a business builder that we're trying to get to enroll, the skeleton is the same. So whether it's a new prospect that we're straight up recruiting from the business side, or if it's someone on your team that has potential, the vision call is going to be the same. So Christy, last week we talked to Christina, and then last night we talked to Katie, and Katie is a prospect that we approached straight up from the business side, whereas Christina was already on your team, and we're sharing the vision of the business side with her, but it was the same phone call, right? It's basically the same phone call of whether they're a prospect or whether they're already on your team. And so your posturing has to be strong. You cannot afford to be wishy-washy. You cannot afford to be stuck in what's going wrong, anything like that. Your posturing has to be that you're amazing. You know what you bring to the table. You're not stopping. And the thing is, if you've made that line in the sand decision, which all of you have, hallelujah, or as Medita says, hallelujah, or however you say that, I'm super excited about that, because I don't feel like we're on the fence anymore going, am I going to do it? Am I not? Am I going to do it? Am I not? I feel like we're all out there doing it. And so because that is the case, you're building under the people you're talking to. And so your posturing has to be strong. You cannot afford to be weak or wishy-washy in any way. So your posture is strong. You have a choice to be confident, and you're going to have to be confident going into this. Remember that when you're talking to the people that you're talking to, whether they're on your team and you're getting ready to do the vision call and sell them on the business, or if it's a prospect, you are not asking them a favor. You have to remember that. So sometimes people will say things like, well, I feel bad asking them, or I feel bad, blah, blah. No. There is no favor here. You are offering them leverage spots in your organization, and you have to treat it like that. You have to treat it like you are the CEO of a multi-million-dollar business. I can remember coming into network marketing. I made it to the very top level of my first company, and I was like 30 years old, and everyone else that was working in that position, they were 60 or 50. And I can remember my mentor saying to me, when you walk in the room, you better be putting your shoulders back and acting like you got it going on. Do not let them see you crack. You've got to act like you know what you're doing. And so I can remember putting my shoulders back and like walking in that room like, go ahead, throw an arrow at me. I got it. And so when you're doing these calls, that's what it's got to be like. You know what? I know where I'm going. I know what I'm going to do. So that's your posturing going into that call. So you're not wavering. Now, the other thing that I want to just touch base with, and I know that we've been working on this individually, but going into these calls, make sure, I just want to say this again, make sure you have combed through your chart and through your tree, and make sure that you have found every single person that has business potential, and you have really asked them to take a look at this. Don't leave someone on the table. Don't leave someone there that might have potential because maybe you are prejudging what their thoughts are. Or for me, I will tell you this, I mean, just coming from where I'm coming from today, even when I was making notes for this call, it dawned on me that I have a girl on my team that in my mind, I feel like I've shared the business with, but I know I haven't. I have never went to her and said, listen, I want to show you how this money is really made, and I want to show you where you're at in the tree, because there might even be people in your tree that are inactive, and they're inactive because they didn't understand what to do from the beginning, and they didn't understand the business. So you've got to make sure that you're looking at that. So sometimes you want to dig down, and it could even be somebody that's inactive that has potential that needs this vision call, because a lot of times the miracle is already in your house. So before we go out and get new people, which we are going to go get new people, we're not married to who we have. It's nothing like that. We can have more than one and more than 10, but you want to look at is there anybody left on that tree, on that team that has potential, that has not heard an all out business presentation where you're telling them why you want them and what you have to offer. So, and a lot of times that's going to be 2 or 3 levels deep in your team, because sometimes there's disconnect. Let's say that you brought in Aunt Matilda, and Aunt Matilda has Megan below her, and Megan is an entrepreneur. Make sure you're digging into that. Make sure, because it ultimately does not matter where your volume's coming from. Like I've said a zillion times on this call, on this whole executive branch journey, there's only one person that I've personally enrolled. Only one. I want you to remember that. All right? So dig down into it. Now, once you've determined the people that you're talking to, whether it's a business person that's a prospect, or whether it's someone on the tree, the next thing we're going to do is we're really going to show the business. We're going to show it. We're going to sell it. And we're going to hold nothing back, and we're going to all out show what's possible. This is different than you plus 2, them plus 2. You plus 2, them plus 2 is laid back. We're showing that we don't want to offend anyone. We're wanting to bring in the people that might not ever do network marketing, but they might want to do the business. That is not what this is. This is an all in, all out. if you put your mind to it, what the business would have to offer and what that looks like. So it is definitely a lot more energetic. It's a lot more bodacious. I don't even know where that word came from. I don't think I've used that in like a decade. It's more bodacious. I mean, it's amazing. So the first thing in the vision call, number one, and this is, and we're going to divide it up because I'm going to cover a product user, or I'm going to cover a prospect that is not even using the product, and someone already on the product. We're going to talk about them both at the same time. So you have to chase rabbits with me. The first thing, regardless of whether it's a prospect or someone already on your team, is you are going to ask open-ended questions to them, and you're listening. So you're not thinking about what you're going to say next. You're really listening to figure out if Isagenix business side can fill their gap, if they have an interest. So I say to them, tell me about you. Tell me about you. I want to know. I want to know what you do. I want to know what your life's like. I want you to tell me all about you. And I'm going to listen to what they're saying. I'm going to say to them, what are your goals? If they're already on product, I want to know what are their product goals and what are their business goals in Isagenix. If they're in life, I just want to know where do they want to see themselves? Like, do they love their job? I'm asking them questions. If they're on the product, how's your product going so far? So if someone says to me, last night, Chrissy's girl said, well, I saw Matilda Jane, and I go, do you love it? She said, yes, I love it. And so asking those open-ended questions and really, really listening to what they're having to say. And what you're listening for is, what are their goals? How much money do they want to make? Are you going to be able to fill their gap? Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to tell them why they were chosen. So you'll notice that I almost always say, I talked to Gail last night, and I asked Gail to find the 3 people that she feels like would be most dynamic, that could really build a business with her. And so out of everyone that she knows, she chose you. So I say that to them. So I'm telling them why I chose them. If it's someone that I'm personally trying to recruit, so I have a guy that I put in last week, John, and I said to John, I followed your Facebook now for 6 months. And out of everyone that I watch and that I know, I really do believe that you have the grit and the gumption to make something like this happen. I really want to share this with you. So I'm telling them why I'm choosing them to share it with, if that makes sense. But you've got to be confident in what you're doing in order to do that, to carry it off. I mean, you just have to be. Now, if then the next thing that we're going to do, the next step in the vision call is this. If they are a product user, if they're a product user, or not a product user, if they're a prospect, if they are a prospect, what we're going to do is we're going to spend 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes on the product, because we cannot separate this product from the business. It's unseparatable, if that's a word. You can't separate it. Because this business is very product driven, it's very storytelling driven, it's very social media driven. It's all about the product. So even if they're a business builder, we're going to spend 5 minutes on the product. So last night I did a straight up business builder call for Tammy, that's under Gail and Stacy. And the girl was a big shot of Mary Kay. But when I got on the phone with her, I just said, you know what, I'm going to go through 5 minutes of the product because I want you to understand why it's so dynamic. So I went through the product and really sold them on the product. It's important that when you're working with a prospect like that and you're sharing that product, that you go ahead and close the sale of the product. So I say to them, and when it's a business builder, I say, so basically, you pay $29. That's going to enroll you in the Isagenix, and then you can order whatever products will benefit you. And then I'll say, and if it's for Stacy or Bonnie or Shalane, I might say, and Shalane's going to talk to you a little bit about what products will benefit you the most, or what package could work for you the most at the end of this. But just to give you an idea, it could be anywhere between $200 all the way up to $800, just depending upon what you want to buy. But really cost-wise, that's what you're looking at with the product. That's all I say to them. I don't go into a 30-day. I don't go into a president's pack because my main goal is to get straight to the business. But I want them to understand that their startup cost is going to be somewhere between $200 and $800. That is such an easy bridge for when you're closing. And so you can't forget that part of it when you're doing that vision call. Now, then once we're through there, what happens then is we go down then and we're going to talk about the business. Now, if the person is already on the product, this is where the vision call starts because you don't have to talk about the product. So now we'll be at the same place really from this point on. So then what I do with the business plan is this. So I want to share my heart with you on this, and I want to be just straight up about this. I have received some flack from time to time in my life that I'm over audacious in my thinking. But this is what I know. I don't believe that that's the case. I believe that if someone is willing to put in the work and the grit and they stick with it, I believe they can hit executive in 3 weeks. Most of you hit executive from the time you made the decision in 3 to 6 weeks. It was not a 6-month process. It wasn't. And so to say that it is, it's teaching to say that to me, my background's in education, and I always taught to the top of my class. Because if I taught to the top, the bottom producers would rise up. If I taught to the bottom, everybody stayed low. And so I can't help that that's who I am. And so I'm going to teach to the top. I'm going to bring it as far as expectation because I'm looking for entrepreneurs. I'm looking for people that have grit that will go that next level. So you're not going to see me bringing it down or dumbing it down or lowering a goal to make someone feel comfortable. That's not going to happen. And so in that compensation plan, I share it 2 ways. The first thing that I do is I draw out the basic Lynn Hagedorn compensation plan. I'll post that up on the executive chart. I'm sure you know I'm sure you've seen it, but it's just the you plus 2, them plus 2 times 5, and they make $3,050. And I show the business volume and how it goes up. You guys are going to see me do it as well. And you're more than welcome to record it or ask for the recording whenever we go through. That's fine too. It's not like I'm like, okay, go do your vision call. You're getting these notes, you're taking notes, and then we're doing the vision call together. So you're going to see it. So I draw out the basic Lynn Hagedorn compensation plan all the way down. I don't rush through it. I don't. I'm going to give it the amount of time that it needs to take for me to communicate to that person what it looks like. Then what I do is I always edify that entrepreneurial thought that's going on in their mind at the end of that Lynn Hagedorn, the front end of the compensation plan, because they sit there and if they really are a business builder, they're like, what the heck? I'm sitting through this and this is all the payout that there is because I thought that. I was like, are you kidding me? I just drove 2 hours to hear this. And so I edify that. I say, I was like, oh my gosh, I drove 2 hours to hear this. And then the next thing I'm going to do though, is I'm going to show that business volume where it breaks all the way down, right? So I go through that, I show that. Then the next thing that I do is I show, for those of you guys that train with me from the beginning, I show the Rita tree. And I feel like that's so important because there are things that our compensation plan has to offer that other compensation plans don't have to offer, and why we attract, as I'm looking right now at, say, Katie or Christy. They're in my top left corner, which is why I'm pulling them out. They're right there. So Katie has a successful construction company. Christy has a successful photography company. Both of them in their cities are well sought out in those areas. So why are they even on this Zoom at 9:30 on a Wednesday or Tuesday when they could be out doing that other business? They're on the Zoom because of the Rita tree. That's why. Because we work together as a team, And it makes it so that you are able to take large amounts of time off and still earn 6 figures. So to not show an entrepreneur this part is not wise. It's not wise. And so I show the Rita tree for that reason. I want them to see how me as the upline or you as the upline. And especially with you guys, I feel like I can really, really go for this because I know you're not stopping. So I can show what it means to be on your team and how they're going to receive. And then I can also show how there's no breakaway. So I draw Hillary, Rita, and Justin, and I focus all on Rita. How Hillary built her left leg under Rita, and how Rita enrolled 2 people, how Rita enrolled a teacher, who enrolled somebody, who enrolled Holly, and then how Holly lost 100 pounds, started attracting attention. So pretty soon there's like 10,000 down this leg and 100,000 down this leg. Rita only ever enrolled 2 people. The reason why I'm showing that is not to say, oh, you're going to be like Rita, because I tell them that is very far-fetched. They're probably not going to make $750,000, but that is the power of our compensation plan. That's it. This is why I chose Isagenix. That's why. Like, I had an offer from Beachbody. I don't talk about that very often, but I had an offer from Beachbody. But I chose Isagenix based upon this compensation plan of how my upline and I would be working together, which that didn't help. That didn't happen for very long. But what did happen was there was no breakaway from the people that were down below me, whereas in most companies, you're only paid so many levels deep. So an entrepreneur will really get that. So that's the Rita tree, and that's why we're doing it. It cannot be half-butted. It can't be. Like, you have got to be very energetic. You've got to show them what it's about. You've got to bring your energy to it. By the time you get off of one of these business calls, you should feel like you've just got done doing a workout. Like, a lot of times I'll get off of a call and I'll have to go take a 10-minute break because I just gave that call every ounce of energy I possibly have. Okay? And so when you are working with these people, you're talking to these people and they're entrepreneurs that you've picked out, you've got to think, I am pitching this to my COO. You're not asking them for a favor. You're pitching them what you have, and you're trying to get them to go, yeah, I'm in. That's what you're looking for. So that's really what that looks like. Now, after you go through that, you're going to ask, do they have questions? A lot of times they're going to have questions. You're going to begin to answer the questions. That's why you want to do these practice calls with me, so you can hear me answer the questions, so you can get as comfortable at this as you are at everything else that you're doing. The next thing that I really try to do then, once I've answered their questions, is I try to go through a day in the life of being an Isagenix rep. Because literally, what does that look like? I mean, I wake up in the morning, I go work out, I do some selfies, I post them, I post a picture of my shake, I go about my life, I answer questions, I'm always aware of who around me could be a business builder, and then I help other people do what I do. That's what my life looks like. And so you want to really paint that picture, because what we have that they don't have, I mean, I think about the people that say the most crazy things to me, like, all the time. I mean, I know you guys deal with this, but I think maybe it's worse because I'm so blonde and bleach blonde. I don't know, but they'll say the craziest things to me, like, oh, you're still doing that, or you do that thing, or that network marketing thing, or they think I don't work. You know, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking about that person. You're getting up at 5 a.m. and driving to St. Louis, and I know you make half of what I make, but I'm just being nice by not verbalizing that to you. That's what I mean. I don't say that, but I think that. And I think that you've got to paint that picture of your life of, you know, if I have something for my kids, I go to it. I mean, I just had an opportunity to go work out with one of my daughter's coaches. And so I messaged Stacy and said, Stacy, can we reschedule the 11 o'clock? And is it selfish? Possibly, but is it taking control of my life? And yeah, And how does that affect Stacy? It affects Stacy by saying, Stacy, I'm going to be there. I didn't like, let's reschedule it. Let's do it. But I think it also shows her how to take control of her life and how to not be pushed around, but how to think, okay, I'm going to do what's most important for me and my daughters and my family at this moment. And so really showing a day in the life of really helps that. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to talk about how to get started. They're going to be shocked by this because remember, you already closed the sales at the beginning of the tree. And so literally what happens is because you've already closed the sales at the very beginning before you talked, you're able to say, and the great thing is there's no more expense. So when we talked to the Matilda Jane lady last night, her mouth was open, her eyes were big, and I said to her, basically you pay $29 and you buy your own product. That's the only expense. And I knew she was waiting for me to say but there is no and. That's all it is. You pay $29 and it's going to be somewhere between $200 and $800 in order for you to start your business. And then every month you need to order about $170. That's really the only business expense. You guys, these are why it's so easy to close business builders, because they're coming in for a business opportunity. You don't even have to say anything like, well, how much money did you spend at McDonald's? You don't have to go into all that stuff because they're like, what? $200 for this business opportunity? You're like, yeah, really. Or $800 if you want a president's back. And so that's what that looks like. And then basically then I'm just asking, so what do you think? What do you think? And the amazing thing about business builders is you don't have to chase them around. You're going to say, what do you think? And they're either going to say, I'm really interested. I'm going to talk to my husband, or I'm going to talk to my wife, or I'm going to look at it. Or they're going to say, I love it, but I'm not interested. And you're probably going to have a decision the next day because they're going to want to get in before the other people you're putting in. It is so much easier to close a business builder. So much easier. So basically, that's really what that looks like. Now, tomorrow, we're going to get into, all right, we did the vision call. We got interest. Now what? And that really is the meat and potato of then going forward, because you get that decision. And then as a leader, you've got to get them moved from decision into action. And we talk about that tomorrow. Okay, questions, anybody? I feel like that was a lot of talking I just did.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are you booked right now? Like, can you do a Zoom with me?
No, because I can't do a Zoom. I can't do anything until after 2.
Okay, that's fine.
But I want to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
All
if I rescheduled it for 2, you could do 2?
Mm-hmm. Let me double check that I didn't just schedule something else for 2.
You probably have me. I text you for 2 o'clock.
Okay, yeah, I have Gail at 2. I could do 2:40.
Okay.
Would that work?
I'll ask her.
Okay.
I will ask her. Thank you. I'll let you know.
Okay, perfect. All right. Anybody else? Questions? All right, guys. I hope this helps. I know I need to get these last 2 Zooms up, so I'll get those up for you guys. All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.